What is up, though, Lions fans? You're. Why is this playing? One second, I have Yep. All righty. Can y'all hear me? Testing. Can you hear me? Yep. Can you guys hear me? You should be able to hear me now. Can you hear me? Let me know in the chat if y'all can hear me. I see the levels, but I don't know if y'all can hear me. Okay. All right, bro. I came home and my microphone was unplugged, and never know what happens when you're away. But anyway, what is up though, Lions fans? Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. I'm not gonna do the whole introduction today because we are 15 minutes behind because I was having whatever audio issues I was having. Don't know why I was having them. Don't know who's responsible, but whatever. It is what it is. Certain things happen in life that you can't control. So, yeah, I got kind of thrown off. Give me a second here to figure out what I'm talking about. uh all right. So what we were going to be talking about today was we the best. The Detroit Lions are getting all types of love. What up though, everybody in the chat? What up though, Mr. Detroit City? What up though, Kane Press? What up though, Mr. Morale? Not Mr. Morale. What up though, Tactical Sport? What up though, Kenyatta Stovall? All right. So the Detroit Lions are getting all of the praise after a really, really shaky first week. Now, here's the funny thing. When I ask you the question, can the Packers still go undefeated? Because we want to know if the Packers can still go undefeated. Do you know it's been a month since they've won a game? Do you know that? Like, actually, like a calendar 4 weeks, obviously, because they won a game. And then Rasheed Walker proclaimed them after a 2-0 start to be going undefeated, to be going 17-0 after a 2-0 start. So they won a game. He proclaimed, we're going undefeated. The next week came, they lost that game. The next week came, they tied that game. Then the next week was a bye week, right? So it's been 4 actual weeks since they've won a game. I just want to know, are they still going undefeated? That's all I want to know. Somebody get Rasheed Walker on the line. Tell Rasheed Walker to come on the show and explain to me how undefeated works in his mind. I just want to know. Anyway, I digress. After week number 1, the Detroit Lions season was over. The sky was falling. I wasn't one of those people that said the season was over, the sky was falling, but I did say that they did not look good, and there were some things that they needed to fix and rectify, and that they'd better fix it, right? I said, Johnny Morton said they were in the fix-it business as coaches. And I said, well, you better fix it. Kelvin Shepherd came out and he was real fiery about what he wanted to see and what he didn't want to see and all these other things. And I said, well, we better see it, because these Lions fans are not going to sit here and go through growing pains or whatever the case may be. Yeah, we heard all the stuff. We heard everything. Oh, it's new coordinators. It might take some time to gel and everything, but the natives might have gotten restless. So that's why all I was saying was, it better get fixed, because if it doesn't get fixed, then it becomes what they call lip service. And when it's lip service, people tune you out very, very quickly because they don't want to hear it. Well, they got it fixed. They got it turned around in near immediate fashion, right? Apologize for all the background noise. Can't control it. Anyway, in near immediate fashion, they've done what they needed to do, and they got it fixed. So they've rattled off 4 straight wins, and they are number 1 in the latest power rankings. One second, y'all. What up, though, Vitali? All right, so we'll push through it. So after 4 straight wins, the Detroit Lions are at the top of the entire NFL, not just the NFC. They are at the top of the entire NFL, largely because they moved into 4-1 after 4 straight victories. And the other 2 people the other 2 teams that were atop or on top of them, above them, pause on top of them, that were above them, the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles, both fell to 4-1. You see how that works? When you move to 4-1 after 4 straight victories, you go up this way. When you fall to 4-1 after being 4-0, you come down a peg. So this is what happened. So in the latest power rankings, I know it's ESPN. I'm not sure about everywhere else, but we'll go ahead and read this article that we have from Sideline Report, and then we will talk about, we will address some of your comments. All right. So it says the Lions are the new team to envy in Week 6 power rankings. This was originally posted by Sideline Report Candace Pedraza. Could it be? Are the Detroit Lions finally breaking out of their underdog shell and becoming the most obvious powerhouse in the NFL this season? It's seeming more and more likely that this is the case, especially since the team is 4-1 to begin the year and have already begun to show that they're a top team in all three phases of the game. While that underdog or overlooked label might have expired back in 2023, they still seem to get ignored in conversations regarding contending teams this offseason, given the departures of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn for head coaching vacancies. Now the league is back on notice, and NFL.com writer Eric Edholm has them right at the top of Week 6 power rankings as the team heads for a road clash against the Kansas City Chiefs. Lions named top team in NFL in Week 6 power rankings. Edholm writes that the Lions are at the top 4, of course, their performance over the last 5 weeks, but more so because of how poorly the Philadelphia Eagles and Buffalo Bills did in Week 5. Those teams are two of the most genuine threats to Detroit's ability to make it to a Super Bowl appearance this year. So if they're dropping games, the Lions look amazing by comparison. Sunday's performance, quote, was great for 3 quarters, but then the Bengals went into turbo mode and almost made it a game again. All of the top teams have had games such as this, so I am not going to make too much of what happened in the fourth quarter. Knowing Dan Campbell, he'll mine it as a source of inspiration, but there remains the question of just how good this defense is. Edholm's one gripe with the Lions' Week 6 win, as mentioned above, had to do with the defense almost breaking against the Bengals. Sudden comeback attempt. They didn't, though, which is something they need to continue as a trend headed into Kansas City. Without Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed, the team has to figure out a proper game plan for Patrick Mahomes and his magician act in the pocket as a passer. Perhaps the answer is relying on the team's pass rush, which has been elite so far this season with Aiden Hutchinson at the helm. Whatever it is, Detroit has to find a way to beat Mahomes and the Chiefs in the trenches to remain at the tippy top of these rankings in a league with no remaining unbeaten squads. Now, I'm actually going to play you guys something. Okay, I'm going to play you guys something about the pass rush because I know a lot of us talk about the pass rush and we feel like it's the problems are solved, so to speak. But I would say not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. And I'm going to pull something up for you to let you hear. But what do you guys think about the assertion that we just might lose to the Kansas City Chiefs? Before the season started, when we did our record predictions, again, listen, I'm going to go over this again because I just want to keep it fresh in y'all minds. I said that there was a path for them going 15-2 again. I said the path was that they would lose to the Baltimore Ravens because of Lamar and Derrick Henry and how that team is built. And they would lose to Philadelphia Eagles because of the same exact thing, because of Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and how the team was built. Now that we've vanquished Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and the Baltimore Ravens, who I don't know if they're a bad team. I'm not going to call them a bad team because we know they're not a bad team. We know, in this microwave society that we're in, we're quick to call people a bad team. They're not a bad team. They're just going through a down year. That's all. It's a down year. Now, there were opportunities when Buffalo came to town for them to win, or were they on the road in Buffalo? Anyway, there were opportunities against Buffalo for a comfortable win, not just a win, a comfortable win. Then the defense did what the defense has been doing, giving up a bunch of points. They gave up 15 points in like 5 minutes. Okay. And we didn't see the signs of the collapse of the Baltimore Ravens. All we saw was, okay, when they had an opportunity to put it away, Derrick Henry fumbled. And that Derrick Henry fumble was recovered. That Derrick Henry fumble was recovered by the Bills. And that was all she wrote. So we looked at it as an anomaly. And then, of course, they come back and they beat the brakes off the Cleveland Browns. And then they come and they play the Detroit Lions and they get worked. Okay. Now, the Detroit Lions are a good team. The Buffalo Bills are a good team. Does that make the Cleveland Browns? Listen, I'm gonna tell you something about the Cleveland Browns. Okay. I'm gonna tell y'all something about the Cleveland Browns because I was watching the Vikings-Browns game last night as I was in preparation for doing the NFC North report. And then I started doing the NFC North report Vikings edition, and I'd be talking, and then I'd fall asleep. And I wake up and I had no idea what I was talking about. So I was like, I'll scratch that one and I'll do it when I'm more fresh. Because it was like almost 1 a.m. where I'm at, and I was trying to record the video, and my body just wasn't having it. It was just like, nah, bro, it's time to sleep. So let me tell you something about the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, if they just get a semblance of an offense, are going to be a problem. From what I saw, I don't think it's going to be Dillon Gabriel. We know that the Lions beat the Browns, and then they beat the Bengals, and then after beating the Bengals traded Joe Flacco. I mean, the Bengals traded for Joe Flacco, right? So now Joe Flacco is there. So that means Shedeur Sanders is QB number 2. Okay. Is it going to be Shedeur? Is he going to be the one that gives the Browns a sim? I don't know, but it's not going to be Dillon Gabriel. It's just not. It's not that he even played poorly. It's just that he didn't give you confidence that he could be the spark that the team needed. I don't even think he was like bad like Spencer Raxter, okay? Because Spencer Raxter is awful. I don't even think that was it. It just was like when you watched it, you were just like, eh. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you think of his performance? Like, does he have it? I don't think so. We'll see as he goes along this season. But if the Cleveland Browns get any type of offense going, they're going to be a very, very, very difficult team to beat. Okay? They actually could make some noise in what looks like a very weak AFC North right now. Because the Bengals is cheeks, right? The Ravens are inexplicably imploding. And then you got the Steelers, who, if I'm being honest, okay, and this is not just Aaron hate. This ain't just Aaron hate. The Steelers don't look great, right? They don't look like the Steelers of old. They don't look like a defensive juggernaut. They don't look like any of that stuff. So I'm just saying the opportunities are there. All right, let me get to y'all comments. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? All right, let's blow this out here. Okay, so we're gonna get to these comments because I have not gotten to them yet. Kenyatta Stovall says Thanksgiving coming, LOL, in response to the Packers talk. Someone find where's Ja? Where's Ja? Someone find Ja Rule so we can make sense of all of this. Coming off a bye, don't know who this Rashid Walker is, but Jordan Love and his Packers are coming out swinging versus the Bengals. Well, it's the Bengals, my guy. Like, listen, if they somehow lose to the Bengals and Joe Flacco was gonna get it to Jamar Chase. I'm telling y'all right now. If Joe Flacco can do anything right now at his advanced 50-year-old age, he can throw the deep ball. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Trey Hendrickson has a field day back there on Jordan Love. And don't be surprised if T. Higgins and Ja'Marr Chase eat. I mean, eat. Like Ja'Marr Chase had a 100-yard game against us. Don't be surprised if he has a 200-yard game against the Panthers, against the Packers. I'm just saying, don't be surprised. Now, if they can contain Micah Parsons for a little bit and give Joe Flacco a chance to throw deep to Ja'Marr Chase, it might look like that game. Remember the Bengals versus the Ravens game from last year where they both scored 30+ points? It might look something like that. So I don't know. Last time I checked, the number one meant the best. Facts. Who's a lip reader here? No, it wasn't. I had it muted for a reason. No, I muted it on purpose. Yeah. We could look at every other game as a must win, but Sunday is a 1000% a must win. For the Lions, you think the Chiefs game is a must win for the Lions? I can't stand them either. What up, Mr. Morale 313? I think that's some swiftly Satan talk. Swifty, okay. It's a possibility that Lions get beat in KC. Chris Jones got work to do on the Chiefs defensive front. We'll talk about it. I never thought we would lose to KC. I don't expect us to lose to KC. It's up to KC to find a way to beat us. Facts. Hell no. Jack Campbell's going to end their marriage before it happens and retire Kelsey this week. Brian Brantz locks on Mahomes and he retires also. Kelsey retiring, I can see that. Mr. Morale, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, not a chance. I'm not really worried about Philly anymore. Then Xavier Worthy just takes off running Forrest Gump style and don't look back because he don't want no smoke. The fact that all of their receivers, other than Juju Smith-Schuster, run a 4.2, like their top three receivers are all sub 4.3. We know Xavier Worthy is a 4.21. I think Hollywood Brown 4.27. And Thornton is 4.28, something like that. So they're all sub 4.3 guys. Because our secondary is not healthy, I'm worried about those three receivers. But I think if you just look at what Jacksonville did, I think you'll be fine. Kara looks really bad in her mustard dress week. Which Karen is that? Like the last, I don't know how many years. What are we talking about? Oh, the Steelers. Oh, Karen. Okay. Karen. Aaron. Okay. The Steelers look like they will win 10 games, then have a first round exit like the last, I don't know how many years. All right. I got you. Norman Sire, we need a running back. Who's we? Norman, you must be a Chiefs fan. You can't be a Lions fan. Yeah, everyone's fast until they get hit in the face by Branch. Facts. Yeah, I got you. Norman, how do we need a running back? We have the best duo in NFL history. How do we need a running back? I don't understand that one. All right. Now, as far as the Chiefs are concerned, I think I said this yesterday. The Chiefs, here's the problem. The referees tried their best to help the Chiefs win that game on Sunday night. Okay? Or was it Monday night? It's Monday night, right? The referees tried their best to help the Chiefs win that game on Monday night. The problem with that is that they were in Jacksonville. So you know when they're in Arrowhead, it's going to be even worse. We're going to have to beat the referees and the Chiefs. We're damn near going to have to go BTA in order to win this game. Okay? We damn near going to need to go BTA in order to win this game because we're going to be playing against two different teams at the same time. We're going to be playing the Zebras and the Chiefs. Okay? Because there was a touchdown that they took away from the Jags, which Trevor Lawrence was clearly over. Or the line, he clearly crossed the goal line with the ball. And then there was that interception, which was so egregiously pass interference that it made absolutely no sense. That was the worst. Okay. Remember, we've been victimized by that before. Remember last year, Tampa Bay. Okay. Probably the reason that we lost to Tampa Bay. Okay. Was because there was a huge I don't remember who it wasn't. Antoine Winfield. Somebody hit Sam Laporta hard right before the interception happened. Knocked him clean out the play, and he was the intended receiver, and the other guy next to him picked it off. It was identical almost to what happened in Jacksonville. So we've already been victimized by that at our own in Detroit at Ford Field. Jacksonville got victimized by that in Jacksonville. So if a situation like that occurs on Sunday night against the Chiefs in Arrowhead, I would expect it to be the same type of result. So now that the Chiefs are allowed to tackle receivers and then get interceptions, that's a problem that we're going to have to deal with. Okay? This isn't worry. This is analysis. Terrion's not playing. He's injured. This game might be a shootout for real. It very well could be. Okay. All right. So that's something that we're gonna have to worry about. Now, this is a thing that I want you guys to listen to. Hold on, let me find the exact spot because it is another YouTube video. Shout out All 22. If you guys don't know Coach D from All 22, he does a lot of film breakdown. That's basically his thing, breaking down film. He is a Ravens fan, but he has been a Lions fan for the last few years. So he does a lot of Lions stuff. If y'all haven't checked his stuff out, go check him out. Not right now. What you should check out right now is Motor City Cats. Hold on.
Against 11 personnel. So very unique in my opinion. This is going to be a two-man screen to 14-3. And the one thing about Barnes is that he's always trying to impact the play. And it's for Barnes, but I think he senses something, whatever that is. Nice to get his hands up in the air. Cincinnati was still able to get a field goal there to close later in the game. Looked decreased compared to what we saw early in the game and then other games so far in 2025. I don't know. I suspect or wonder if he might have been dealing with like a sickness or an illness or something like that, because usually he's got incredible cardio. Plays like this are very quarterback. I just don't feel like pass rush skills are his specialty. But here is Hutchinson, who is the pass rush specialist for Detroit, and you really don't get anything out of him on this particular play. And sure enough, that's exactly where Browning ends up escaping, as Hutchinson really shows no ability to escape. I think he's either tired or not 100% in terms of health, illness being a factor. And in this case, the quarterback gets out of there. It only ends up being a 4-yard gain. I think that Hutchinson needs help. And I've said that
Okay, I did it backwards. I did it backwards. Hold on. So basically, what I was saying is this is a video. This is a video about Derek Barnes and the effectiveness of Derek Barnes and what he does and what he offers. He's very complimentary of Coach Shep. He's very complimentary of the Detroit Lions. So this is unbiased criticism. This is he's not being a slappy or anything of this nature. He's not a Lions hater, none of that stuff. But he is specifically on YouTube because of his expertise in breaking down film. So this is what he's saying.
So basically, he's walked up as a Sam linebacker. It's a 12 personnel group. As he does. Very similar to Enzo. Really good look. All these skills stand up on the ground.
All right, hold on. I went back a little bit too far. Okay. Getting to it right here.
Big pass rush skills are his specialties up escaping. As Hutchinson really shows no there. It only ends up being a 4-yard gain. I think that Hutchinson needs help. And I've said that a couple of times in recent videos. Not as a starter necessarily, because what Barnes is doing, what Barnes, Campbell, and Anzalone are doing, together is important. It's working. Shepard's philosophy is extremely effective at this point in time, even though they gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter to the Bengals.
All right. So at that point in time, everything's good, right? He said the philosophy is working up until this point. Agree with everything. But here's where the next part comes in, and this is the most important part.
Part of that was admittedly garbage time. I think that in some of those pass rush situations where they just want to get after the quarterback, even though I'm a big DJ Reader fan, he needs to be off the field. McNeil, when he returns, you want him on the field in those third down pass rush situations. Someone better than Muhammad has got to be an option. If you're trying to beat the best teams in the NFL in the playoffs in second half pass rush situations, I think Aiden Hutchinson needs some help.
Okay. So that's all we've been saying. Now, we know El-Quadin Muhammad exploded onto the scene against the Baltimore Ravens. However, he hasn't had a sack since then. I fully expect Coach Shep to have some sort of plan, because now we're talking about in that part in the article where it said, containing Patrick Mahomes and his magician act in the pocket. We have to have some sort of plan, and I fully expect there to be some sort of plan for Patrick Mahomes to be stopped in the pocket. The problem with Patrick Mahomes, stopping him in the pocket is not going to stop him from being able to get the ball downfield to a receiver. Pressuring him only is not going to stop him from being able to get the ball downfield to a receiver. Patrick Mahomes, in a situation against the Jacksonville Jaguars, okay, there was a play where they had him dead to rights in the backfield and he escapes, and then it becomes a big game. So Patrick Mahomes needs to be sacked a la Lamar Jackson. He needs to be taken down 7 times. He needs to be, basically put in a chokehold. I'm not promoting violence, but this is a violent game. I'm not saying an actual chokehold, but you need to put a chokehold on what he's able to do. So that would be my only issue with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I do believe it's a win. I picked it to be a win. I just saw them lose to the Jaguars. I think their referee magic is gone, even though, the refs gave them stuff. There's certain stuff that they would have done last year and years prior. I don't believe they would lose that game. Okay. Now, when Trevor Lawrence scored that go-ahead touchdown, if you look at Chris Jones, it's almost as if they let him score, right? It's almost as if they let him score, and then they're like, okay, let's get the ball back and let's drive down the field. And then Hollywood Brown got hit with a ball because he wasn't ready for it, and he had maybe 20, 30 yards in front of him to be able to run it and then get out of bounds and then give them a better opportunity to go ahead, and all they needed was a field goal, right, to tie the game. So it's some of that luster, some of that magic, if you want to call it, some of that stuff seems to have worn off. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to come into this game believing that it is a must win. And it is a must win because they are currently 2-3. Right? They're currently 2-3 and they're trailing in their own division. The problem and the thing that works in their favor is their division is cheeks. Is a 2-pack of ass. It stinks. The F you talk about. Their AFC West division stinks. Okay? Now, you've got two teams. The one at the top of the division right now is the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't trust the Los Angeles Chargers further than I can throw them. Why? Because they come out with a 3-0 start and then they lose to Jackson Dart in his first NFL start to a team that was previously 0-3. They were 3-0. They lost to an 0-3 team. Okay, cool. The Denver Broncos are a good team. No doubt. Right? No doubt. Denver Broncos are a good team. I would say that if anybody was going to win the division outside of the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going to give it to the Broncos before I give it to the Los Angeles Chargers. So that's what I'm saying. The team that's in at the top of the division is much like the NFC North for the first 2 weeks. We had this team called the Packers. They're frauds. They were at the top of the division, and then the real Kings of the North stepped up, and now they're at the top of the division. Not only are they at the top of the division, but at the top of the NFL altogether. This sense of urgency is there for the Kansas City Chiefs is my only thing. Again, I'm not picking the Chiefs to win this game. I didn't pick the Chiefs to win this game when the schedule came out. Remember this, okay? I'm just giving y'all some analysis as to what can we worry about, what can we be guarded against. If you go 2-4 in that division, it's really not the worst thing because the Las Vegas Raiders are absolute garbage. I don't know what's going on over there, but they are absolute garbage. They lost 40-6 to the Indianapolis Colts. Okay. So you've got one team that's actually absolute garbage. You've got one team that's suspect. So you're really only as the perennial winners of the division of the AFC West, you're really only worrying about the Denver Broncos. If you get your groove back, which I hope if they want to get their groove back, get it after week 6. If you get your groove back, you can beat the Chargers. Okay? You can beat the Chargers. I don't know where they're playing because they played in week 1. It was Brazil. It looked like the Kansas City Chiefs were the visiting team. So then, or were they in their Reds? I think they were in their Reds. So maybe the next game that they play will be in Los Angeles. I don't know. I don't know how that works out. That kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. If you don't play divisional games overseas, that one, nah, because that's really unfair because they both went overseas. I guess you could call it, okay, it was a neutral site, but only one of the teams gets a home game. So if I'm going to lose a home game, I don't want it to be against one of my divisional opponents because it's a divisional game and you need all the advantages that you can get. Okay. So the Chiefs are desperate. Okay. Andy Reid, phenomenal coach. Patrick Mahomes, phenomenal quarterback. I don't believe this is going to be easy. But I really don't believe that this is the Chiefs of old. And even when they were the Chiefs of old, and after they had come off of a Super Bowl win, they were the defending Super Bowl champions. We beat them in Arrowhead. So am I afraid of the Chiefs? No. Am I concerned about the Chiefs? No. I'm just being watchful. That's all. All right, let me get to some of y'all comments. All right. Let's see what we got. Okay, let me let me skip the part where I was muted. Okay. All right. So now we got Barnes as a complimentary piece. I just don't think he deserves to be paid more than Anzo. I think they'll get that worked out the end of the season. Yes, it was in garbage time. Yeah, but he doesn't know anything. Take his mic. He clearly didn't just watch Mr. Chris Jones, who the big media blows, just fall, letting Goldilocks fall 2 times, get up and win on him and his line. I think I addressed that, right? Fun fact, only 4 teams, Ace Boogie, what up, though, have never played in the Super Bowl. One, the Jaguars, the 2, the Texans. I'm calling them the Jaguars on purpose, though. Don't think I don't know how to pronounce Jaguars. I'm unlike most people. I know how to pronounce the word. I don't call it a jaguar. It pisses me off. What is a jaguar? Look at the name. Jaguars. Where does the wire come from? Last time, Baltimore, obviously. Last time I looked at the word wire, it was spelled WIRE. UAR is not wire. I'm sorry. Okay. And if you're British, you call it Jaguar. But there is no world in which you should be calling it a Jaguar. This doesn't make sense. The Texans, Browns, and the Lions. We knew that. We know that fact. All right, he got one in the Cleveland game, didn't he? AQM, I don't think so. He got close, but he did not get one. Completely agree, says Norman Sire. Running his yap about Reader. My man is trolling. You think Holmes is dreaming about Branch? He might be. I don't know. That sounds kind of sus. For these pass heavy QB centered offenses, once you get 4+ sacks, that shuts them down. They could have the best wide receiver tight end. Don't mean anything. Look at the Texans. Facts, but you got to get those 4+ sacks. You got to get them. Hold on, I got to do this. All right. Is it a must win for the Chiefs because they're 2-3 at home and on Sunday Night Football? I think it is a must win. You're 2-3. They started off the season 0-2, and you have a very, very poor chance. You have like a 12% chance to make the playoffs. When you go down 2-4, I mean, you got a couple more missteps and you're out. So we'll have to see. They lost both RBs. Give them a break. What if we lost both Gibbs and Monty like that? They have both Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. What do you mean? Sean Payton for the Broncos. What a dream these last 4 years have been. Facts. Broncos got the Jets on Sunday in London. I think the Broncos win that game. I'm sorry. Love this Lions talk. The NFL and NBC crew seems to think there has never been a 2-4 team to make the playoffs. If that's true, a lot on the line for the Chiefs to overcome. Yeah, they again, as I said, there is desperation there. No Hampton and Harris. Oh, okay. Amarion Hampton and Najee Harris. Was Najee Harris doing a whole lot in? Is Omarion out for the season? Because I know Najee tore his Achilles, so he's done. Here's a question that I have for you. If we didn't have our running backs, do you think we lose to an 0-3 team? That's my question. All right. Random as hell. The Continental miniseries is dope. It is. It is. And I still have to finish John Wick. Shout out to Tactical. Harris got hurt right out the gate. Yeah, he was, yeah. All right. So, guys, I do have some money to go make, so I am going to have to cut this slightly short. I know we got off to some technical issues and all these other things. I will not be here tomorrow, but I will be back. I will be back on Friday. So make sure you guys go ahead, smash the like button, subscribe to the Motor City Cats, and I will see you guys Friday. All right. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic. And we are out. Peace.